Hey guys, welcome back, and today we are talking all about healthy boundaries. You know you need boundaries. You've read the articles, you've heard the advice, you might even know exactly what that boundary is that you need to set. And then the moment comes and you can't do it. Or you do it and the guilt is so overwhelming that you undo it within days. If that's you, this video is going to explain something important. Boundaries were genuinely one of the hardest things that I've ever worked on. Not because I didn't understand them intellectually, but because every time I tried to set one, something in me experienced it as almost an act of violence against the person that I was setting it with. Like I was hurting them. Like I was a bad person for having needs that inconvenienced someone else. And that response didn't come from nowhere. It came from decades of learning that my emotional needs were secondary to other people's comfort, and it was running the show without me even knowing it. So here's what's actually happening when an empath struggles to set a boundary. You feel other people's emotional responses as if they were your own. So when someone is upset that you've said no, even if their upset is unreasonable, even if the boundary is completely legitimate, you feel their discomfort in your body as if it's your own discomfort. Your nervous system interprets their emotional reaction as evidence that you've done something wrong. And then there's the old programming. Most empaths grew up in environments where being attuned to other people's needs was the primary survival strategy. Reading the room, anticipating what people needed, managing others' emotions. These weren't just nice traits. They were how you stayed safe and stayed loved. Boundaries went against this training. So when you try to set one now, you're not just choosing a behavior, you're going up against a deeply wired nervous system response and years of behavioral conditioning. That's why just say no doesn't work for us. The instruction is too simple for the actual complexity of what's happening underneath it. A boundary is not a wall. It's not rejection, and it's not punishment. A boundary is information about what you need in order to show up well in a relationship, including your relationship with yourself. It's not about keeping people out. It's about creating the conditions under which you can actually be present, available, and genuine, rather than resentful, depleted, and performing. When you set a boundary from that place, not from anger, not from defense, but from genuine self-knowledge, it's one of the most loving things that you can do. Because the version of you that has no boundaries eventually will have nothing real to give. Now there's 3 types of boundaries that I've found that empaths especially need the most. The first type are energetic boundaries. Limits on how much emotional labor you take on in a given interaction, how long you'll hold a space for someone, and how deep you'll go when you're already depleted. Now, these are invisible to other people, but they're very critical for us. Type 2, time and availability boundaries. We as empaths often tend to have no off switch. We're available whenever anyone needs us, which means we're never fully available to ourselves. And this is where concrete limits on response time, meeting frequency, and availability actually matter. And the third type are content boundaries. What are you allowing into your field? And this includes relationships that are consistently draining, media that leaves you feeling heavy after, environments that reliably deplete you. You get to curate what has access to your energy. Now, building those boundaries. The guilt doesn't go away immediately, but here's some things that help. Before setting a limit, get clear on what you actually need, not what the other person or what you think the other person deserves. I need to end this conversation because I'm depleted is different from this person is too much. One is self-knowledge and one is judgment. Lead with your need. And state it simply and without over-explanation. The more you explain, the more you invite negotiation. I'm not able to talk right now is a complete sentence. I am not able to talk right now because I've had a long day and I'm trying to take care of myself, but I really do care about you and I hope you understand, is an apology for having a need. And when the guilt comes, because it will, notice it as a feeling rather than treating it as evidence that you've done something wrong. The guilt is old programming, and it's not the truth. If boundaries feel impossible in the context of a specific relationship or pattern, the kind where you know what you need but something keeps stopping you, that's often pointing to something deeper that's worth looking at directly. I work with this a lot in my one-on-one sessions where we look at the patterns underneath the behavior, not just the behavior itself. I'll put a link in the description if you want to explore that further. And if you're in a spiritual awakening, and all of this is part of a bigger shift, including your relationships changing, I'd recommend the Awakening Roadmap, which I've created and walks through what happens to your relationships during a spiritual awakening and why. I'll put that in the description as well. If this video resonated for you, subscribe for more. I have a whole bunch more coming out like this during the month of July. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.